Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the second part of the second part. Um, well, that's a tautology if I ever heard one. Now I have already done this particular section, but I had to do it again because of the quality of the video, and also the quality of the video might suffer because I've got something rendering in the background already. So if that is the case, I apologise, but you'll still be able to hear my voice. So basically, oh, and I apologise for the phone going off whilst we're there. But can't help it when you're recording and things. So, as you can see here, that's the legislation of health and retirement um, tab. Now I'm going to move on to the education and culture tab, and first of all we're going to deal with sport. Please excuse me if you suffered some lag, but my frame rate is holding steadily for me. So basically, this is typical. You can policy decisions. You can choose what you want to invest in. You can also invest in certain disciplines. As you can see here, I would do this to gain more popularity in terms of if you're suffering, in terms of that in that regard. And here is your standard build tab. So again, you can decide to build stadiums, to sport facilities in general. So and ice rinks. So that's all good in that regard. And media, I'm not even gonna click on media because there's only two options in media, and I'll prove it actually. As you can see, there's two options. Determine the amount of freedom of the channels, or and determine the level of privatization, and that's all pretty self-explanatory. As we're a communist country, it's state controlled, therefore we decide what goes on the TV. And so, moving on fairly swiftly, culture again is good for certain things like soft power. And if you don't know what soft power is, basically it's exporting your culture across the world, and that's good because people become more susceptible to your way of thinking. They also, as you gain more and more awards, because they have film like awards like effectively the Oscars in this game, but it's not called the Oscars obviously because of obvious reasons. And it just shows that your country is getting on, culturally speaking. From everything you can think of, to video games, to comics, to libraries, or literacy even. Um, it's all there. And then you've got libraries, and that determines the level of control you have over the libraries, the level of control you have over religion, so you can basically decide what people read, and violence and things like that. And it's all there. And then you could decide to construct a few more theatres to keep your people happy. Especially, this is especially true if you're going to basically control an African nation, and you feel you've got your economy up to a standard where it can support a lot of cultural buildings in terms of construction. that's also good to get popularity up. So moving on, as I said, I've already gone through this once already, so I'm going to be a bit more succinct this time and to the point. And I'm not sure if I've done budget, but if I haven't done budget, there it is. I have done budget, so. And then research. Now, this particular tab is very important because you know, it determines the level of investment that you have in a particular sector, and especially, you know, in terms of energy, you know, that's very important because it means that you're not so dependent on other nations to deliver services. That also, you know, can be true of other nations. They might discover something that is highly beneficial to their economy, and they could decide to keep it for themselves. Or, you know, you could be very generous and go, you know, I'll open it up for general use. It's your it's your decision at the end of the day. And here you've got the in buildings, you've got laboratories and research facilities, as you can see here, and discoveries. Awesome. So that's all good. So and then budget, obviously, which we're already on, and then we have education, which is, I can't stress this enough. I mean, it's self-explanatory here. You know, you can choose to invest in certain things to bring your literacy up and things like that, and your general smarts of the. I can't believe I've just said smarts. Your general intelligence of the country. And within that, we've got certain legislation. So you can set the maximum age for school. You can set the duration of school vacations, and you can set the freedoms and of teachers to teach what they want. And within that, we have salaries. Are we already on salaries? We're already on oh my god. Yeah, so that's basically it, really. And then you can decide to build what you want. And before I forget, this little fellow over here, if you can see my mouse, he likes to tell you to build more schools, essentially. And yes, China does need to modernize its education system, but please do that at a slow rate because it's very, very expensive, and you could leave yourself open for financial difficulty in the future. So take his advice with a pinch of salt. Okay, moving on to the head of state. Now, I'm going to be very, very quick and succinct with this particular Come on. Oh, is the game frozen? I believe the game's frozen. Great. It's frozen. Oh no, it hasn't. It hasn't. We're there. So yeah, I'm sorry about that little disruption. I will get better as time goes on at these videos, but I'm fairly new at this still. And here I'm just gonna skirt over this. This is your parliament. Obviously, you're you're under a single party system, so you know the Communist Party is ultimately in control, and they don't really have a lot of power. Although they do and they don't. I mean, they do in terms of if they don't like um, where you're bringing the party, they will get rid of you. And I've been subject to many a coup uh, and revolutions in general. Um, Similarly, if you want to get rid of them, you can. You can basically dissolve the parliament and say, "Screw you! I'm only gonna give you a consultative role in matters," and that basically means that that um, that they have no real power, and you know they're only there for show really. So that is that is important to do if you're going to institute some radical reforms. Um, and then you have the cabinet here, obviously, um, which means that you can see which cabinet minister is particularly popular at this moment in time. I can see that the Treasury Minister is particularly popular here with 71%. Um, and also, you must keep in mind, and I can't stress this enough, popularity of certain ministers because they can bring down the government. For example, a certain scandal that I had with a particular minister resulted in me basically having to be removed from office because they felt that I wasn't capable of controlling my cabinet. And I believe the actual event was my finance minister, who's under the treasury, got in a bit of bother with a certain lady of the night, um, and the party wasn't too fond. Let's put it that way. So that you need to keep an eye on that, obviously. And then you've got a head of state, which basically is you can determine the salary. You can nominate the head of state. You can basically say, okay, I'm done. I want to be appointed for life. That's obviously going to cause some problems. So only do that when you've got popularity on your side. And also you can create a popular cult, personality cult even, which can be important if you're going to maintain your popularity. But if you're running a democracy, that's not necessarily so important. You can still say, do, do a popular cult, and people, some people might like it, like for example your supporters, and others won't. So let's move on to the democracy. Oh no, let's do the country tab, and that basically is you know your country and its theme tune. I won't play it just in case. I'm going to get a little slap on the wrist from YouTube. And you can choose your new capital. I never ever do this purely because it basically throws your commerce out the window because you need to make sure it's close enough to the center, but also given access to the sea, or as close to the sea. And here is key organisations. I'm only going to brush over this really quickly. In other organisations, you can join organisations such as the World Trade Organization, and the G20. Although we're part of the G8, or we should be part of the G8. And yeah, So organisations on this game play a minor role as they do in real life. You've also got non-membership organisations, so that's ones that you're not a member of, and that gives you a complete list. I mean, I could go through these, but you know, once you get the game, you can peruse at your own leisure. If you get the game, if I've managed to, explain myself. And NGOs, that's basically non-governmental organisations, such as Amnesty International, but they're not in this game. I can only imagine that's because they didn't get the rights to display the symbols. Um, so that's all covered and done. And then you've got the UN. That is the main organisation that you want to deal with in terms of managing disputes. And you know, with that, you can basically ask the organisation to intervene on somebody's behalf to maintain world peace. But you've got to present evidence, and if they feel that you're just tarnishing a person's name or a country's name, they will say, bugger off, basically. You're not worth our time. Um, Within that, we have the World Bank, which basically means that you can ask for a loan, but you can also reduce the debt, or you can ask to reduce the debt. I would highly recommend this if possible, because it means that cheaper interest means less to pay off, basically, and it's simple economics, basically. If you can get your interest rate down, it's all good. And the IMF is basically the same deal, really. Only now, if you wanted to know the difference between the IMF and the World Bank, please let me know. But I won't cover it in this video because it will take too long. But those are those two organisations. And now key figures and trade organisations and blah blah blah. That's all your characters and people of interests. I'm not going to go through every single one of them because you can see them on the screen. But these are very useful if you're trying to get, for example, a celebrity on side and join your party, for instance, or a religious leader to get on side, or unions to get on side. And then, as I was saying, you've got certain sects of religion, and you can determine the amount of control and censorship that each one has, and well, not each one, but it's a general sort of policy sort of thing. So once you've introduced it, it will go across the board for each one. And then on top of that, you can see the list of of sex and sets in this country. There's not many. Obviously, not. There's none at all. And then we've got religions themselves. Again, I apologise for the frame rate. And again, the same deal, really. And you can basically see who's in your country operating and practicing in your country, and then and then as basically association is it's charities, basically charities and that's and all that stuff, really. And then and then we have trade unions, although they're not called trade unions in this game, but I'm going to call them trade unions because they are trade unions. And you can basically decide the powers of the trade unions and you know determine how regular that they can go on strike. Um, and yeah, um, and then political parties. Obviously, we've only got one political party because we're a party system. Um, but you can basically determine the whether you are a multi party system or not. I would only do this when you've got ridiculous amount of popularity, otherwise you're going to be kicked out of power. But if you're trying to democratize the country, then I would definitely do that. So that's been a very, very brief but long introduction, all in the same breath. I hope you've enjoyed these videos, and please let me know if you want me to do a let's play, because I will do one because I love this game. And also, I want to make you aware at this point that I'm actually planning to do a sort of first impressions let's play of another game called Supreme, and that's a management style game. I hope you come along with me on that particular journey. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe. And yeah, because that's the best way to get my videos. Obviously, I'm not teaching you to suck eggs, obviously, but yeah, I'm not on any other sort of network apart from um, um, networking site, I should say, apart from YouTube. Oh, and Twitch, but I don't really use my Twitch. For you that don't know, my Twitch name is MattKill3, just in case I do end up broadcasting on Twitch. But until next time, I've been Strategical Gamer, signing out.